Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. I got my guy, G Sports, with me. G, how was your weekend, man?
Pretty good weekend. Pretty good weekend. Can't
What were you up
complain.
to, man?
My middle school team, we went played in a tournament at Harry Hurst Middle School, and we was able to go 4-0 and win the championship. So proud of my group.
Winners win, man. Shout out to the boys. Good dub. Got a nice little show for you today. Arkansas, LSU had a decent game. It wasn't the best victory. It wasn't something that you're going to write home about, G, but we got some takeaways. Michael Van Buren, of course, our guy Frank Wilson got his first dub as the interim coach. So shout out Coach Frank. Defense played pretty well against Taylor Green, who I was a little worried about, G, going into the game. Got some updates from the quarterback position. Of course, Colin Hurley wasn't at the game Saturday. He also wasn't at the Alabama game. We'll dive into that one a little bit. But let's keep the main thing, G. Arkansas. LSU got it done by 1 point. There's a lot of takeaways here. The first one is going to be Michael Van Buren had a solid game. I think that they got to be a lot more creative. The run game opened up. The mobility, I think, was on display. Now, it wasn't an eye-popping, oh, my God, he's a Heisman caliber quarterback, but it was a step in the right direction, for lack of a better phrase. Another person that I want to tip my hat to. I actually said something to him on the field, G, because I think this is one of those positions, man, where when something goes wrong, everybody's going to talk about it. But when it's going right, everybody's just like, it's whatever. It's what he's supposed to do. Damian Ramos. He got SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. He went 3 for 3 on field goals, 2 of 2 from extra points. 50 yards was his longest kick. Nothing crazy, but he was accurate. He was perfect. And Arkansas's kicker cost them the game, G. If you really look back at the end, I don't know how long it was. It was around a 40-yarder. Either way, the field goal they missed late would have put them up 2 points. Now, it's not to say LSU couldn't have won. It would have just put them in a completely different situation. So I had to make that point known. Ramos, shout out to you, dog. What's your thoughts, G, though, on this game, the performance from Michael Van Buren, and just the overall situation surrounding him?
First of all, kudos to Frank Wilson on getting his first win as the interim head coach at LSU. Proud of him. Love the way he had his team competing these last 2 weeks. You just see a newfound presence from this team when they take the field. Michael Van Buren, I was felt like he had some jitters early on. Uh, Once he got settled in, man, he made some throws and converted on some third downs that was critical into them being able to win this game. He talked about Ramos making those field goals, bro. He's been pretty consistent since he's been at LSU. Uh, love the way the defense played. I talked about it last week that they were gonna have to create at least 2 to 3 turnovers, and they got three, bro. 2 interceptions and a fumble. I thought that played a big time role in the game, and I think holding Arkansas to 2 for 11 on third down
Yeah, nasty.
was was something that I didn't think they was gonna be able to do. Right? I thought they could create the 2 to 3 turnovers. Did not think they could make that offense go 2 for 11. So kudos to Blake Baker. 2 weeks in a row, he's done a phenomenal job against some top tier offenses, and they ran the ball, bro. Over 4 yards a carry. How many times have we said that this year? That
Not much.
LSU's running game averaged over 4 yards a carry. Harlem Berry continues to ascend. I like the way Alex Atkins called the game, bro. They had some plays that I've never seen, some formations I've never seen in this game, and you could tell it caught Arkansas by surprise, which I thought played a big role on that last drive when they was able to get the go ahead score to ultimately win the game. So kudos to them, man. Hopefully they can finish these 2 weeks off the right way.
Yep, bro. How about the trickery? I mean, you got Trudez throwing balls, you got Jawan throwing balls in the backfield. It's just elements and wrinkles like that in the offense. It's a breath of fresh air. You
Yep.
like you were seeing a lot of the same old things. Everybody's asking the same questions. It was a nice change of pace for sure. Now going to the defense, you saw Blake Baker's post, man. Shout out to the Bayou Bandits, bro. Held Taylor Green and that offense, besides the kicker, to 15 points. I want to highlight that. That was nice. Harold Perkins is playing like a unit against the Razorbacks. There's something about Harold Perkins versus Arkansas and something about him in the daytime, dog. 2.5 tackles for loss, a sack, an interception. I mean, he was all over the place. I think it was Shea Dixon. He had a pretty funny tweet. He was like, man, Arkansas fans must think Harold Perkins is the best college football player ever. Like every time they match up, he's running around. Another one that I want to mention, Bernard Gooden. him being back is such a huge boost, bro, because you can see him all over the place creating inside pressure. How about them stopping the tush push on 4th and 1? I know Jacoby and Guillory got inside that pressure, but it's a double-sided monster right there on the inside. Dylan Carpenter got active. I saw him rip through in the backfield, get a nice tackle, nice wrap up, 2 hands. I want to know this, though, because as Blake Baker, the steam keeps piling up, and naturally, as Tulane steam piles up, because I think they're 24th in the AP Top 25, they control their playoff fate potentially. Either way, how hot is Blake Baker's name getting? We keep talking about Frank Wilson, we keep talking about Lane Kiffin, we keep talking about all these other coaches, but I want to circle back to this one right here because I think this is a name that's going a little bit under the radar. Maybe not with LSU fans, but just collectively in the college football coaching carousel.
I think it's a done deal that John Summerall won't be back at Tulane after this year. It's just too many job openings out there, and I would just be very shocked if he didn't take one of them. You got Oklahoma State, you got Arkansas, you got Auburn, you got Florida, you got Stanford, you got Penn State. I mean, the list goes on and on of all these jobs that's open, and John Summerall name comes up with a bevy of them. So I've been hearing since last year when Summerall was supposed to get the North Carolina job before Bill Belichick came in and took it from him at the last minute. That Blake was going to be the leading candidate for the Tulane job last year. So I'm still hearing the same things, and I think Blake would do a great job at Tulane. He understands the state, and he's put his mark on his LSU program since he's been even before he became the defensive coordinator. You go back to the story between him and Damone Clark, right? The middle linebacker that got drafted by the Cowboys in the 5th round. Before Blake Baker got there, Damone Clark was about to retire from football. He was about to hang the pads up. He talked about it on our podcast, right? That just goes to show you the relationships that Blake has with his players, how genuine he is, and he knows ball, bro. And I think he's ready to be a head coach. He's put his time in. He's put his time in, and I think that he would do a great job at Tulane.
I think so too. Like you said with the Summerall point, the writing is on the wall. I mean, buku jobs. His name was on fire last year. I feel like he did. I'm not gonna say a lot more with a lot less, but his roster last year versus the one this year, bro. I
Yeah,
gotta keep harping on that. It's
and we
completely
talked
different.
about that, bro. Like last year, he had some talent last year. He
Yeah.
really did. This year, not so much. Got some good players in spots, but overall, top to bottom, is nowhere near what he had last season. So I've been impressed with how he's been being able to keep Tulane still at the top at one of the top teams in that conference. So uh I think he gonna end up getting the Arkansas job. I'm gonna be honest with you. Auburn, he has a chance to get down, but I think Arkansas is the job he's probably gonna end up getting, bro. I know Stoops still hanging on at Kentucky. I'm hearing he's supposed to get fired as season's in. Don't forget, Summerall was there for I think 2 to 3 years as a linebacker coach. He has ties to Kentucky and he has a great relationship with that administration and athletic department. So wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going somewhere like that too. But I would I think Tulane fans know that this is John Summerall's last year uptown.
And you can't blame him. I mean, Willie did the
Nah,
same
no.
thing. It's a nice look. You did your time over there. You helped build the program. Tulane now, like compared to before Summerall was there, man, light years ahead, bro. Like whoever comes
Yeah.
in is gonna be a nice little take in the mantle type situation.
Well, Willie, you gotta give some props to Willie Fritz
Yep.
because before Willie Fritz got there, Tulane was a laughing stock of that conference.
Yep.
Well, he was in the Conference USA when he first got there, but when he moved to the American, Willie Fritz just did a good job of building that program up, getting kids to stay home, and he left it better than he found it. And Summerall was able to leave Troy and come to Tulane and keep it going and taking it to even a bigger level. And now he's about to reap the fruits to his labor, bro. So shout out to John Summerall.
I said something wild Saturday night, G. I want to just tell you, I got to put it out here on the airwaves. So we were talking about Tulane becoming a player in the boot, recruiting talent in the state of Louisiana, which is one of the best pipelines out here in the entire country. Anyway, when you look at LSU, great brand, one of the biggest brands for sure. I just think there's something to be said about Tulane, all the uni combos, how much drip they got. I'm sorry, I think that's a big. Now, I'm not gonna say it's a factor in your decision, but on the visit, when you can put on a bunch of different combos and you can take a bunch of different types of pictures, it kind of reminds me of what Oregon did. And it's not like at that level, but the uniform combinations they dropped on Saturday with the little like the street sign on the helmet stuff, bro, that's clean. I feel like that is something you can harp on to the kids in Louisiana. Like, all right, cool. You might not have a starting spot at LSU. You do over here. And man, you're gonna look a little fly when you're playing. I think it's gotta be a factor, bro. It's gotta be some type of
Tulane,
strategy.
Tulane has definitely been swagging this season. They're doing a great job of it. And with the generation that we living in, with the kids that pay attention and stuff that really don't matter, that gets the attention of recruits.
It does.
It really does. So I think they're doing a good job with that, bro. Shout out to their marketing department. Shout out to their PR department. Shout out to everybody that's involved with the drip over there at Tulane, man.
Roll drip, bro. Look good, feel good, play good. You know the motto. I want to point this out too. Two things. One, before we get off of this LSU Arkansas thing, I hope you saw the reaction that the team gave Frank whenever he's running into the locker room. I mean, that is the exact embodiment of the energy shift we keep talking about. If you want one representation of that right there, of the change, of the morale boost, or whatever you want to phrase it, that's the one representation I would give. That's a clear cut example. And then another thing that I want to point out as well, like Frank took the podium on Monday. They do their weekly press conference. He was making mentions about two things, about Garrett Nussmeier and about Whit Weeks. Garrett's availability for Saturday with the injuries. They're going to deflect to the doctors. It's going to be a decision. Same thing with Whit Weeks and how, naturally they both would want to play if they were cleared. But I want to revisit our conversation on Friday. Is there writing on the wall for them done, them foregoing their season? It'll be MVB and then the rest of the linebacker core taking in which spot? Like, do you think that they're not playing again? We got 2 games left, bro. And then another point, it's like if their stock were to get better, I feel like it would have had to start 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? It's not really going to get better with 2 weeks left of the year, in my opinion.
If I'm nuts, I'm not even trying to come back. It's just the season is a wash. Michael Van Buren played pretty good against Arkansas, especially in the second half. They won the game. You don't want to come back in knowing you're dealing with an oblique injury and you can't play to the best version of yourself, and then the offense takes another step back. Now fans are going to start reacting to that. You're going to be in the doghouse. Just call this season a wash and get ready to start preparing for the NFL draft. I think Whit Weeks is one of those guys that just want to get back out there, bro. I can see him coming back for the Western Kentucky game or for sure the Oklahoma game.
Okay. I want to talk about this Colin Hurley situation too. We opened up the stream with it. Like we said, for the Alabama game, he did not travel with the team on Saturday. He wasn't there. Coach Frank said it's a personal decision. It's temporary. He's not necessarily in the portal as of yet. On Saturday, Picarella and Juwan Johnson backed up MVB, excuse me. They didn't see any reps, but this is something that I want to bring up because there's like 2 clear signs here. The first one being, I feel like his relationship was just with Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan. Those 2 coaches leave, not just, but the predominant of his relationship. You saw how he talked about Coach Kelly after the firing, how he changed his life. He spoke very highly of him. Maybe that had something to do with it. And then also the second thing I want to bring up, out of your last 3 young quarterback prospects, you got Walker Howard, Ricky Collins, and Colin Hurley. You potentially have a common theme with those 3 if this goes a direction we think it'll go and Hurley enters the portal. What's your thoughts on that with quarterback depth? How big of a priority this might make it in the transfer portal? And just your overall thoughts on if he's going to even enter the portal at this point.
Yeah, Colin Hurley is definitely probably about to get in the portal and go find somewhere else uh, to play quarterback at. I think that when you been in the program with this is second year, right?
Yeah.
Second year, going into your third year, Michael Van Buren has 2 years of eligibility left. He's been getting the starts, or he's going to be getting the starts the rest of the season. That's what it's looking like.
Yep.
So at best, next year you'll be a backup, which I don't even think he would be the backup because they're gonna go in the portal and go get an experienced quarterback.
Yep.
Which means you will be QB3. And I'm not saying he's wrong for getting in the portal. I'm just saying that's just reality. And if I'm LSU fans, if I'm anybody that's a fan of LSU football, I wouldn't look at this as a negative in a sense when you say, oh, they lost Ricky Collins, they lost Walker Howard, they lost Colin Hurley. It's just the new age of college football, bro. you're going to go get an experienced quarterback before putting all your eggs into a freshman.
Hmm.
That's just what that is, bro. And quarterbacks that's coming out of high school, if you not a Bryce Underwood, Dante Moore, people in that category, you might want to look at a mid-level D1, bro, because these Power Four schools, they go and get the best quarterbacks in the portal to lead their program. That's just the reality of it, and people got to understand that's the new age of college football.
Yeah, because you got options. Everybody has options. The team has options on who they want to bring in. The players have options on obviously the teams that they can pick from. It is a representation of where you're at for sure. So I do think this makes quarterback the number one priority for LSU in the transfer portal, though, if this does hypothetically happen. Because now with MVB playing well, I think there's even an option for MVB to feel a little froggy and go. Because if he's going to enter himself into a quarterback competition knowingly, because look at what they did with Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeyer, and all this. And it's to your point. If you want to be a championship contender, why would you not hear offers, bro? If DJ Lagway's in the portal, if Nico, whoever it is, whatever the name is, whoever the dog is behind center, you're going to have to hear him out, G. You're going to have to hear every single option out.
Yeah. That's why whoever the next head coach is going to be at LSU, I think Michael Van Buren is going to pay attention to that closely and think and feel like, is this somebody that could get me to the next level? Is this somebody that values my skill set? A lot has to play out over these next 90 days, bro. And like I've been saying, they have to have a head coach selected by Thanksgiving week.
Oh,
I really
Lord.
think it can't go past that, bro. They're gonna put themselves in a bad situation. If you talk about transfer portal, high school recruits, keeping guys retained on your roster. The week of Thanksgiving, bro, they gotta have a decision made. I'm very adamant about it.
All right, I got two questions for you now that just popped in my head. The first one with MVB, if you were to transfer, what level do you think he would go to? Would it
Power
be
five. He'll be at a
ACC?
power four school.
Okay, he's staying
Yeah.
SEC, ACC, Big Ten. What you think? It's
I
hard to say
mean, I mean, I that's hard to gauge.
because he got 2 years of SEC experience, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
I
I feel
would.
like he could stay.
Well, you look at the SEC quarterbacks around in SEC, right? Gunnar Stockton, he's probably coming back. Marcel Reed, I think he's gonna come back. DJ Lagway, I don't know if he's gonna get in the portal, but you know he coming back. Ty Simpson probably leaving. Pavia, I don't think he'll go to Vanderbilt. Arkansas, Taylor Green got another year eligibility, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Auburn, maybe, depending on who the head coach is. Ole Miss, Austin Simmons coming back. Who was South Carolina? I
Lenore,
would like to think that having a brain for it.
Lenore Sellers,
Lenore Sellers, I would like to think he's coming back.
Arch is definitely coming back.
Arch definitely coming back. Kentucky, I don't think MVP will go to Kentucky. That's about it, huh? That's all SEC schools.
Joey Aguilar, but I mean, he's
Joey
probably
Aguilar probably gonna come back.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's slim pickings in the SEC. I think he won't stay at LSU. Like from what I've been hearing from the guys in the program, I've never had a conversation with Michael Van Buren,
Hmm.
but just guys that I know that talk to him on a regular basis on the team, they say he loved it in Baton Rouge, bro, and he loved the program. So I really think it's gonna come down to whoever the head coach is. Do they value him, and do they see a future with him as a starting quarterback at LSU? I think it's gonna come down to that.
I agree. Second question. Somebody in the chat, American Patriot, he said, did early enrollment hurt Hurley? Because if you remember, he reclassified, came in at 17, shaved a year off of
Came
the
in at
high school
16.
development. Oh, 16, my bad, even earlier. So was it 2 years he shaved off, or was it just a year,
He
but he was
just
already younger?
he just got that late birthday.
Okay, so shaving 1 year off, do you think that that was a detriment? Like, what would you, if you're advising someone going forward on making this decision, would you use this as a reference point?
You're only good at your situation, bro. It's easy to say that was the bad decision because things haven't worked out in his favor since he's been at LSU. But you came into a program that had Jaden Daniels when he first got here, right?
Yep.
And you knew Nussmeyer had been here 4 years prior to that, so you knew he was going to be the one that was going to be the heir apparent.
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's based on your situation, you know. And I know when you coming in as a high school recruit and you highly touted, you think you could beat these guys out, right? And I get it, but you got to really assess these situations when you're picking a school. And it goes back to what I said earlier in this segment. If I'm not a top 50 player in the country or a top 5, top 3 quarterback in my position at quarterback, I'm really thinking about going to the Houstons of the world, the Central Floridas, the Arkansas States, Kansas States, Kansas, Oklahoma State. I'm thinking about going to schools like that
Mm-hmm.
to give myself a legitimate shot to play. Might not be as a freshman, but for sure my second year.
Just some type of development. Yeah. So you're not just sitting there waiting,
Well,
waiting.
schools like that, they're not gonna have a whole lot of quarterback depth. You know that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So I'm gonna put myself in a situation where if they do have a quarterback on the roster that's better than me, it might just be one versus 3 or 2.
And then that quarterback more than likely is either going to portal, go to a new spot. So it's like, yeah, good predicament there. Let's switch gears. Last topic, Heisman prediction. Couldn't get to it Friday, G. And I ain't gonna lie, I had a little bit of a shakeup this week. Let me pop up this picture here. The three guys, the three finalists. I think this is who will be in New York City. I could be wrong. Open for debate. Drop your comments below. So the men from left to right, Fernando Mendoza, Indiana's quarterback, Julian Sayin, Ohio State's quarterback, and the guy on the right, Texas A&M Aggies quarterback, Marcel Reed. Yeah, LSU fans, I'm sure you remember him. That's who I got as my favorite. And it's interesting because on Friday, when I locked her in, it was around plus 700. Now it's at plus 500. He's third in odds. It's ironic, though, because the way that I got him listed, it's almost backwards. They got Fernando at minus 100. They got Sayin at plus 220 and Marcel at plus 500. Now, I kind of feel a little more confident in Sayin over Fernando. I'll get to that point. But for Marcel, first off, he needs way more praise. I mean, I know we're talking about him. I know that he's getting credit for being one of the top teams in the SEC, but it's so hard to go undefeated in that conference. And they got one game left, bro. So even if they lose that game, they only drop one.
Got
I
2
think
games left, huh?
one SEC game. I think they just played
Oh,
Texas.
okay.
My bad. I didn't specify that. But
And then the SEC championship too.
it's like I think they locked that spot up for Atlanta. So I got a hat tip in for that because if you're in the toughest conference, getting to the toughest game and one of the top 2 teams, that's something worth noting, especially because he wasn't even a full-time starter last year. So he's got like 1.6 years of experience, not even just a full 2. He's tied for the lead in rushing touchdowns, gets about like 30 rushing yards a game, one of the better dual threat quarterbacks, 30 and like, oh my God, but it's a consistent 30. He's consistently going to break apart a defense. Saturday in the comeback win against South Carolina, he had 440 total yards, 3 pass studies. Yeah, he had 2 picks. But that comeback is, quite frankly, a moment that voters are going to look back on and see when he did one of these. Like, when did you put the team on your back and save them? And there's been a few more moments than that, but that one might be his biggest. I think this is an undervalued stock, Big Dog. I think nobody's talking about him enough. Now, for Fernando, yeah, he's doing great. He's keeping Indiana legit. He had 300 yards, 4 touchdowns Saturday versus Wisconsin. He's got a great story, too, because I feel like Indiana was such a sleeper. I think he portaled in. I forgot from where, but he wasn't their quarterback last year. Now, this is the kicker and why I think Sayin's got a better shot than Fernando, because these two are going to have a clash course and meet in the conference title game. It reminds me of the Jaden Daniels Heisman year, G, when Bo Nix and Michael Penix were doing buku this. A lot of people were praising Bo Nix. A lot of people thought Bo Nix had an opportunity with Oregon. And then here comes Penix. Nah, bro, Washington going to wipe him. I think that Indiana gets bounced against Ohio State. I think Sayin will have a moment, and it'll be hard to tip the odds in Fernando's favor if he just lost a conference title game to Sayin. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about him either. He's got great numbers. 6 of the last 9 games that I saw before Saturday, he threw for over 300 total yards. It's phenomenal. In my opinion, if Marcel stays undefeated in SEC play, takes Texas down, wins the conference title, you'd have to be smoking something insane to make you not think it's Marcel Reed. I'm being serious. This is my soapbox, bro. He is plus 500. This is that Jaden Daniels moment a few years back. Like, go get some value, bro. Why are you going to bet minus 100 on someone that's probably not even winning a conference? G, what's your opinion, man?
To your point, Julian saying has been having a really good year, but when you look at his stats, they're not eye popping, and it's not his fault because a lot of games this year he didn't even play most of the second half. So that's just what that is, bro. Like he doesn't play the whole game all the time, and voters look at them stats, bro. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but they look at them stats.
Right.
So I think that might hurt Julius saying in a sense. I like Mendoza. He had a Heisman moment against Penn State with Gus Johnson on the call. Give him the Heisman Trophy now. That was a classic. That was a classic call by Gus Johnson. Hell of a catch by Omar Cooper as well. But like you said, I think Ohio State beats Fernando Mendoza in the Big Ten championship, and you know how this go, bro. They gonna want to go with the player of the undefeated team or the team that's ranked the highest. That's just what this is. Not saying I agree with it,
Right.
but I'm gonna tell you who I think the Heisman Trophy winner should be. If we had to vote today and cast our ballots, to me, Diego Pavia should be the Heisman Trophy winner. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, come to the front of the congregation. Diego Pavia has 2,200 yards passing, a 71% completion rate, 21 tutties, 5 picks. He has 650 yards rushing, averaging 7 yards a carry with 6 touchdowns. He's had a plethora of Heisman moments. Plethora. He didn't put his cape on against all the big name teams. If they had a defense, Vanderbilt would be sitting undefeated right now, bro. They really would. The two losses they had, it wasn't on Pavia. He did his job, throwing for over 300 yards, rushing for 80 yards, 100 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns total. Defense couldn't get a stop in the end. I don't think he should be crucified and he should be out of the discussion to win the Heisman because of it. Man, let's go ahead and pick the best college player that's been playing the best this season. And as of today, Diego Pavia should be the Heisman Trophy winner.
Interesting take. I mean, I don't hate it. I want to go back to the saying thing. I pulled up the box score or his game logs. I want to make this point. 10 games, 60% of the games he threw for over 300 yards. That is insane to me. Because to your point, the games he didn't, I went back and looked.
He didn't play the whole game.
Yeah, Washington, they're up 24-6. When he threw for 166, they're up 34-16 against number 17. Mind you, they just won 48-10. He only threw 184. So 3 to 4 times he didn't do it. That's an interesting statistic. So, if I had to rank them, I'm going Marcel Reed number 1, Sand number 2, Sand plus 200. It ain't bad. But so what's Pavia? I got to see Pavia's odds now because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't think about it because
he's not gonna win it, bro. They got 2 losses. He's not gonna win
the record point. But I mean, you make an interesting argument because what you're saying is who's the most valuable to the team? Take them off the team, and it would be
who's been playing the best. Is Diego Pavia, bro? He's playing better than all the quarterbacks.
Let's see where the odds are. Come on, somebody show me.
The odds probably not good, man. We all know how the voters get down. The voters gonna pick the team that got the best record.
Yeah, it's plus 20 or plus 2,000 right now. Oh, wow. He's actually 4th. He's actually higher than Haynes King and Gunnar Stockton. I can't lie, G. You might be onto something here. Okay, so riddle me this before we get out of here. Let's just say hypothetically, and I hate being hypothetical, but guess what? I'm about to be hypothetical. Marcel Reed hits the bed against Texas. Doesn't have a great game. Texas beats him. Hypothetically speaking, Julian Sand smashes Fernando, shakes that favorite up. So now you got a question on if Fernando was the top guy. Now Marcel Reed slides. That's Pavia's path to becoming a finalist. That's actually not.
He gonna be a finalist. He gonna be a finalist. He just ain't gonna. He just ain't gonna have a shot to win it, dude.
I didn't think he was 4th on the list. If you would have,
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, if you would have had to stop me and be like, where would you have thought? I thought he'd be like 8th. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a shot.
He's been having a hell of a year, bro.
Yeah, I would have put Haynes King and Gunnar Stockton ahead of him. I ain't gonna lie. That's shocking. So, hey, odds are talking, bro. Oh, hold up. Wait, before we get out, we got to address this because I've been hearing a lot of these rumors. Lane Kiffin, what's going on? What the hell is this?
I'll get back to y'all. Let me call my sources when I get off this live.
Oh, Lord. So, we're going to have to push this back to Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
He just signed an extension this morning, huh?
I don't know what the hell is going on, G. We got people chanting, we want Lane. We got him getting a state trooper escort posting Lane 2026 with the Ole Miss colors. We got Florida's coaches going to Knox's game on Friday. I don't know what to think anymore. All I know is Lane Kiffin is the hottest name in any coaching search across the board. Bro, if an NBA team fires their coach, like the Pelicans probably going to call Lane Kiffin, dog. I can't lie. Every single damn team is got him in the mix. He's like minus 300 for Florida. I don't understand. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll be here Wednesday at 1 o'clock, hopefully, to break it down. Hey, if some groundbreaking happens, though, we're going to be here. Appreciate your time, G. Appreciate everybody for watching. Y'all have a good day.